Hello and welcome to PAXTON Road TV. This is the reaction show for the game Spurs versus Wolves, and the score Spurs 2, Wolves 0, and I was going to say another victory for Spurs there. It was like I was getting ahead of myself there. Way ahead of myself.
Wow.
It's a victory for Spurs, not another victory for Spurs, but a victory for Spurs. And like I said, I'm joined in the house by some guests, special guests, as always, the residents in the house, Mike and Darius Hotspur. We're joined. Special guest down below, Shy from Tottenham away, and a new member, Sid Spurs. How are we doing, gentlemen? Are we okay?
Very well, thank you.
We're good, thank you.
We're
good. Thumbs up, yeah.
We're good.
And you can see the smile. We can. And I'll put up the post-match reaction. Spurs 2. Like, subscribe, share, comment for those watching live. Please, we couldn't do any of this without you. Please leave your comments in the comment section below, and we will do our best to get all the comments up on screen as they go along. But if you're not watching live, please do so in the comment section and smash that like button. So let's get into this then. I'll come to Sid. Sid's the first person. Welcome to the show, Sid. How did you think that game went today?
Do you know what? I am a Northerner, right? Born and bred in Northerner. I'm now living down south because Tottenham took me to London. And at the moment, I am a happy Southerner back up north.
Well put,
you know,
well put.
I'm at my mum's house and with the boys watching it. And like you said, we've won a game. We played quite well. And the most important thing is 3 points and slowly back up to that, well, not top 4, but cement the 5th position. Yeah, and I think that's right. It was all important today to get that victory. I said, regardless of whether I agree with the team selection or not, we'll get into that in a little bit. Regardless of whether we like the team selection, whether or not we wanted to see other players play, it was about getting the victory today. If we could get a performance on top, that was a bonus. And I think we did get a bit of both today. Certainly, obviously, we got the 2-0 win, and there was some real good signs from certain players who haven't maybe shone over the last few weeks, Dele being one of them. I've given Dele a lot of pelters over the last few weeks, but he's not played well. He's not had an opportunity to play well. Today, he was more the Dele that I want to see, particularly around that number 10 area. He was floating around, picking up the ball, obviously again nicked the ball, got that assist for the Kane goal. Was it the Kane goal? Sorry, it wasn't, was it? It was the one that hit the post and all the rest. But we did see some flashes. So Shah, I'm going to come to you next. What was your thoughts on the game? Did you think it was a dominant performance from Spurs?
Yeah, I think possession-wise, it was a dominant display by us. We started getting on the front foot, which was good. Moved the ball quite well through midfield. Started to press a little bit higher. I thought Gio had a better game today, which I was pleased about. He was tidy on the ball, maybe not as good defensively, but I definitely think going forward when he picked the ball up, he was a lot tidier in possession today. That made a difference in the midfield. He did get time on the ball, to be fair. He wasn't getting pressed too much on the ball, but what he did was tidy. And you know, a general performance, it was a decent performance. I must admit, I like us in a way. I don't know what's happened to Wolves. I really don't, because you know, 2 years ago they were flying, that team. You know, a really decent team. I don't know if just the 2 players have made such a big difference to them in Jimenez and Jota leaving.
I think so, but if you look at their team as well today, sorry to interrupt you, they were missing Pedence, they were missing Neto, they were missing Willy Bolly from the start 11. They've gone to a back 4 as opposed to a back 5, which they've been playing for a lot of the time that they've been in the Premier League. So there was a lot of things today that didn't help their cause. Taking all that aside, you still have to beat them. You know what I mean? They're no mugs. They've been in the Premier League a few years. They've got some decent players. They still had to be beaten. And they did have a couple of chances on a better day for them, finishing wise. They probably could have got a goal, nicked a goal, but we certainly had chances. The stat came up today. Spurs have hit the woodwork. I think it's the most in the Premier League this season. 23 times. And I think it was it 2 or 3 times today? Yeah. 2 or 3 times today we hit the woodwork. So we had our chances. We can always look to that and think, put away our chances. We could have been 3 or 4 today. But as I said, we can't be too greedy. We cannot be too greedy when you get a win. Hotspur Hustler, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, mate, I thought we played well. I think we probably given. I think Wolves probably gave us too much time on the ball. But but I thought we controlled the game. I don't think Wolves really looked like they were going to score. I thought Ali had a good game, or certainly had a better game than what we've seen. But I think that's just because he's just shaking off that rust and he's getting a run of games. I know there's that argument whether he should play in front of Ndombele, but it's hard to. You take away that Leeds game where they all played poorly. I think Ali has been improving game upon game. So, I thought it was a much better performance than Leeds. I thought Bale had a good game, to be fair to him, and I thought there's no one in that side that had a poor game. I thought Tanganga at right back was solid. Number 15. He didn't really put a foot wrong. I've got no complaints today. I thought everyone did what they needed to do. The main point was to get 3 points on the board, and they kept a clean sheet. Got the 3 points, like I say, and we're 5th at the moment, so or 6th, wherever it might be.
Yeah, just
just got to keep winning these games and just see what happens at the end of the season.
Yeah, I said you can always be hypercritical. There was a couple of moments in the game where Dyer did get spun. I'll use his name today. I think he's done well enough for me to use his name. Yeah, that's what
He's done
well enough for me to use his
TV.
This is a first.
This is the first. I'm going to say it's a tick.
I'm not going to say his name, but Sam can.
In all honesty, there was a couple of moments in there where better teams, the likes of City, the likes of the top sort of six, they would have maybe punished us. But again, as I said, we still had chances on the back of that. We can only look to the positives. The positives were kept a clean sheet, one thing. Bale, I think the 3 players that will stand out for me today in the Spurs shirt were Bale, Kane, and Dele. I think Son was okay. I think Lo Celso was okay, did bits and pieces. Hotspur was solid. Defensively,
he was probably our best player, mate.
Yeah, Tanganga, as you said, was solid enough. He didn't make the same mistakes as what an Ori would make, and he didn't feel he was going to make them same mistakes. Darius, so just come to you before we look at some of the stats. Your thoughts on the actual game overall in terms of the performance of the players?
I think today's performance for me kind of proved that we can dominate games and that we have enough quality players in the 11 and in the team to kind of dominate a team that we know isn't better than us. I thought we know Wolves' squad isn't better than our squad, and to see us kind of control the game, keep possession, and sort of not really feel like the game was out of our hands and the game was sort of running away from us. That felt good to me, and that sort of gives me a bit of confidence going next year forward that if we can get the right manager in, tweak a few things and improve that defensive shape a little bit while also trying to maintain that attacking philosophy, then I feel like there's not a lot that needs to be changed. Maybe it might just be a case of personnel and just strengthening the squad, and it might not be an overhaul that we all think that, when it's disastrous and we're losing to Zagreb and we're drawing with Newcastle and we're losing to Leeds, you think it is a little bit worse than it is. I think maybe after this game with Mason in charge, it shows that these players can dominate teams and can keep possession of games. And I saw a good interplay today as well. Reguilón was making runs that weren't, as soon as a player got the ball, Reguilón was making a run when we got into the final third to give an option for another player. So there's a lot of positives to take. I think the only thing is with the performers that played well, and I don't want to rag players because like you said, we won, but I just think that we've said this with Dyer before, where he's had one game and then the next game he's kind of had a stinker. So I don't want this game to kind of make people think again that this guy's good enough. I'm going to keep on it. He's not good enough to play as a centre-back for our team, and he's really not good enough to play as a midfielder for our team. So he's had a good game, yes, I understand that, but he really didn't have much to do. Vitinha and Fabio Silva were terrible, and any time Adama Traore was on the ball, and as soon as Willian Jose came on the pitch, there were times that I was a little bit nervous. Dyer was kind of coming out of position. So positives, 100%, we won 2-0 clean sheet. There was a lot of positives to take. I think individually, the players played really well, but there still is things to do in this team, and certain players, like I said, number 15, Dyer, whatever you want to say, I'm not going to be convinced by him. For me, it's over. It's over for him. And Ali, again, I'm not sure with Ali. He's played well. I do admit he played well this season, but is it too little, too late? Are we going to see that from Ali on a consistent basis? That's the question I'm still posing. But regardless of that, got to be happy about the performance.
The thing we've got to look at is again the teams you play against. The likes of Wolves today. They didn't have anything to play for. They weren't in any of danger. The relegation, the relegation battles have been sorted out. They are a mid-table team or just below that sort of level. They can perform better. we saw last week when we played Leeds that teams who do put us under pressure, we do have a tendency to kind of make more mistakes, but that's evident. You know, someone like Traore is always going to give players of any sort of level, whichever team they're in, a problem. So I'm not going to look at him and think, oh, that was a real problem. What I did want to see was where the players, when they're comfortable in possession, how they play, how they perform. Do they pick the right passes? Now, in the final third, I think we could have done better at times, but we did well enough to get the goals, to get the win. And as I said, when you've gone through what we've gone through as a team and a club this season, you kind of have to take them as real positives and not look too much into the negatives, because we could do. We could say, oh, Dye got spun for this. Ali should have made more passes in the final third. But given how we've played, do you know what I'm saying? It would really be going too much into them. So, again, let's have a little look and see what the stats of the game say. We could have a little talk around this.
Wow, I didn't realize we had that many shots.
Do you know what I'm saying? 62% possession to 38 was one thing, but the shots, 24 shots,
13 on target. There's been times we've not even had 13 shots on goal.
That's a sea change for me. That's a real, and I know we're going to look at Wolves and say, well, they gave us opportunities to do that. They didn't press us high enough. They didn't press us hard enough. But I don't care. Anytime when you see them sort of stats, it's always a positive. You know, it's 100%. Got to be a positive. Now, given that we only scored 2 goals today, we could say, well, we weren't clinical in our finishing. But the fact that we're getting in positions anyway, Sid, I'll come to you. These are the sort of stats that you would expect to see against a team like Wolves, who are pretty much on the beach now. Would you not say?
Definitely. I mean, not only Wolves, even when we've played like the likes of Liverpool, even sometimes Man City, Man United, we can have more than 20 shots. With the amount of players we've got, Son, Kane, Lo Celso, and Ndombele, we should be at least minimum 15 shots. It doesn't matter. I mean, the likes of Wolves and West Broms and that, we're looking at 25, maybe more. But it's good that we actually have had 24 and 13 on target, which is, you know, it's more than like just over 50%, which is not bad. We scored 2 out of them. But we've hit the post, like you said, twice. I know Kane and Ali both hit the post. Ali should have scored that one, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's good for us. You know, we're not playing too well, but we're still having shots like today. I mean, that going into Wednesday and with the fans behind us on Wednesday, that's going to be massive for the players to go into that game knowing we've won 2-0, we've kept a clean sheet, we've had 24 shots, 13 of which on target. And the fans will be, you know, we'll see some optimism. We're not going to go into that game thinking, oh, here we go. Are we going to get beat again? How many goals 100%. Are we going to score? How many shots are we going to have? So, yeah, for me, massive positive, massive.
Confidence in football, confidence in sport in general, massive. I think in life in general anyway, is huge. And
absolutely.
To go from where we were last week against Leeds, where the confidence seemed to be completely drained. We know what's been happening this week with regards to fan process. There's a massive sea change that's going to need to happen at Spurs for us to get back onto the levels that we want, both on the pitch and off the pitch. But we have to start somewhere. It has to start somewhere. So, Shah, what did you think the main difference was in order to get this performance that Mason's done? There's something that's happened. Again, they couldn't probably play any worse than they did last week anyway, but has he done something to instill more confidence in some of these players, do you think? And what is that?
Well, I think he's played literally the same players. It's just one of those things. He's given them an opportunity to turn it around this week, and they've actually done that. So, again, I think consistency is a big key to any football team. I mean, you know, I hate to say it, but you look back over the years, you look at the Arsenal back four, that was the same for how many games, you know, and they had one of the best defensive records ever. You know, that's no fluke at the end of the day. You know, consistency comes from playing games. And your comments on, you know, Dele Alli, for me, improving per game, and that's because he's playing. So it's you know, easy to improve your performance if you carry on playing, unless you're certain numbered players, which you will know. But, that's another story. But
there is a number that I will use. Number 17 came on again. Whatever he's doing, he still gets to make some sort of appearance. He always does. He always knocks up at some point, whether it's just, I don't know what he does. Whatever he's doing, he still gets looking. I'll come to you, Darius. In terms of the opposition, I know that the opposition looked like they were on the beach today, and Wolves aren't the same attacking threat as they would be if they had certain other players. But saying all of that, is this the sort of performance that we could take into the Villa game? Particularly, there's going to be fans in the stadium, particularly it's going to be at home. And a game, if we do win that, does two things. It makes sure that them lot, and I'm talking about Arsenal, don't finish above us, which is a key. And I think the players should have that as a motivation. But it will also give us confidence going into that last game against Leicester with 2 games on the trot, if we win the game against Villa, to maybe go out and really perform against Leicester, even though the chance of top 4 is probably gone. But as I said, was it more a case of the opposition that we played today that allowed us to play the way we did, or has there been a difference? Is there something more in this now?
I think it's a kind of like 70, 30, 60, 40. I think the opposition made a big difference. I do think that when you have a team like Leeds who are putting constant pressure on you in packs so high up the pitch, almost choking you out, our players cannot handle that. And I've seen that against Man City. And I know Man City are completely different monster to Leeds, but the similar philosophy and in their pressing techniques. And it's very obvious to see that when certain players are pressured on Tottenham's team, they don't know how to deal with it. So I do have to say that Wolves, their reluctancy to press and their sort of their ability to kind of defend as two deep banks of 4, it helps us because it allows the players like Bale or like Ali who need more time to excel. It allows them to do that. But also, I think just looking at those shooting stats again, it's and I remember if you I don't know if you guys saw in the game, it showed from 2016-17 to 2020-21 the shots a game that we were having average, and it went from 17 in the season that we finished second all the way down to 11 this season. And you're never ever as a team ever going to do well if you're having less shots. If you're taking less shots than you are actually receiving from the opposition. So to get those shots up and to get those shots on target up shows that we're doing something. We're attacking, we're creating chances where it seems like there's more space. And that has to come down to the players wanting to kind of make more runs. I could clearly see that some of those players were making runs. Even if they knew they weren't going to get the ball, they were still making runs. And that's what I want to see. If I can keep seeing that, then I really believe that we can give, like you said, any team in the Premier League a good game. And we should be dominating the majority of teams in the league, in my opinion. So that for me is the positive that I take from that. It was very much the opposition, but also there were a lot of things in the tactics and the way that the individuals and the team played that makes me think that you can continue this on into next season with any manager, really and truly.
Go on, Mike.
I was just going to say I agree with what Darius says there. There's obviously certain tweaks with personnel, both on the pitch and off the pitch, that need to be made. But like Darius says, I think if we continue, or we have showed it since Mourinho's gone, the shots per game sort of ratio has increased, and we have improved. I think from an attacking aspect, we have improved under Mason and Powell and Gibbs and King, etc. And we have got something that we can build on into next season. But we all know there's dead wood that needs to be cleared, but there's certainly something that we've got as a foundation that we can build upon into next season.
And there's also players coming back from on loan, and I still believe that we're going to make moves in the market as well. I feel like Anderson is, I don't want to say he's guaranteed, but I feel like we're going to really try and push for Anderson. And if we can get him across the line, I'm already going to be much more confident going into next season. So
and there's a lot of noise about Anderson at the moment.
There's a lot of noise. So.
Too much noise for it to almost be nothing there. It'd be a smart purchase if we did get him.
20 million. He's already been in the Prem. He's living in London now. It makes sense, doesn't it? So
100%. And he's a good player. Great centre back.
Just to say, thanks to those who are watching. We've got Brian Daigle, Paul Brown. We've got Simon from Premier Hotspur TV. Ref. Who else? We've got Marlon Bashment in the house. Kieran. Thank you all, guys. We're going to go to the funds because the funds. This is what he's going to be called now. I've just now noticed that. And I bloody well agree. For those of you who know the funds, that is shy now. Oh, 100%.
I'll just go and get my leather jacket. Give me a sec.
All you need is that leather jacket, my friend, and you are the funds reincarnated.
Happy days. Happy days.
I came on the right show today. Happy days.
I'm so sorry, guys, but my age is really showing now. My age is really showing. I've just had to Google him. And I understand now.
Oh, that's good. That is good. Anyway, the funds, aka Shark.
Oh man,
that's good. That is good. That's made me laugh. You know what? You know the inevitable is going to now start to happen. You know, did what the players that were picked, were they put in there to be in the shop window? Are we trying to sell players? Are we getting Dele in there so we can be seen to potentially sell? Is Eric Dyer playing for that same reason? And the other thing that's going to start to come up a lot is, is Mason ready for this job? I don't want to hear none of that talk. If I hear that sort of talk now,
no,
I don't want to hear that.
Slow down.
There is nowhere on life earth he is coming to be the manager of Spurs. Not at 29 years of age.
I even heard the commentator saying, "Oh, you never know. You know that stranger things have happened." I hope not. But sure, I'm going to come to you. Is there any reason to believe that Ryan Mason should be even considered for the role full time?
Hang on a minute. No. No, not for me, I'm afraid. Not for me personally. Listen, in the future, he could become a very good manager, but at the moment, it's not the right time. I think he probably knows that as well. He needs to learn his trade a bit more with the youth teams and stuff. But not for me. Definitely not at this moment, without a doubt.
Sid, do you see Ryan Mason's? Well, I think from what I understand with Ryan Mason, and he's come out and I think he's done well. I think given the circumstances, he's done well enough. There's a few things that he said that I'm like, you shouldn't really. But again, he's not a manager that's been in the job long enough to even know. He's 29 years of age. He's a kid, really, in management terms. I think he wants to stay at the club. That's what he wants to go back, do his under 18 job, keep learning the trade. Do you think that he wants this job permanently? If he was asked, do you think he'd take it?
I think he'd want it. If he was offered to him, I think he'd take it. But deep down, I think he needs to sit down and think, you know what, I was in under 18s. Tottenham's a massive club. We've had some massive managers. The type of football that we play. The worst thing for him now is if he did take the job and it doesn't work, he doesn't shift the players that need to be shifted, and then we're stuck on Groundhog Day. I don't want him. He's such a nice guy, unfortunate for what happened with him and that. I don't want him then to take the job and then he gets pelted and he just disappears from football and everyone forgets about him. You can
see it already happening, can't you? Slightly, like people are already getting onto him a little bit.
Yeah. So you know what? Go back down to the under 18s, get your experience, learn from other people, do what maybe go Scotland. Stevie G's done that. Yeah. Frank Lampard was a prime example. He went to Derby. He done well. Yeah. For me, it wasn't good enough for him to get the Chelsea job, but Abramovich had ulterior motives. He done well. They were doing well, and then they got rid of him completely, and he's left the club. I mean, he's a legend. He's left the club. So I think Mason just needs to take a step back, maybe do more coaching, get all his certificates up and running. In a few years, maybe, get the experience, and then come back.
I think Premier Hotspur, Simon's put it the best way. No way Mason is a big fat no, guys. I tend to agree with it. What I do like about him, and I'll be fair to him, is he's tried his best to answer things as honestly as he can in the press without going, what's the word? Too anti. There's a lot of we could be anti-Spurs about, and I know that there's a massive split in the fan base about certain things. We all know about the Unic out, the Unic in process, all the rest of it. We know that there's mistakes has been made at the highest level. Yeah. We know about the potential for not buying or bringing in the better players. That goes down to some of the recruitment. We know all these sort of things. But I always look at it like this, and I said I was having this conversation with Dallas. If we put out our best 11 on a game where I'm looking at FA Cups and we play our best 11 against the second string best 11 of, say, Leicester, we should win all day long, all the time. So my focus is that we should be doing this for the games such as the FA Cup, such as the League Cup, and really going for them to try and win them. Because, as I said, I don't believe that we are consistently going to be a top 4 team. However, I think given the circumstances, we should be consistently a top 6 team. And if we really focus on these cups as domestic trophies, we should win them. Look at the joy that Leicester players and fans were yesterday. Absolutely joyful. For us to not take them sort of competitions seriously, I think is where, as a club, we maybe have missed a bit of a trick here. But saying all of that, there is a potential that this team, given the right appointment, given the right appointments in the summertime, could definitely go somewhere, hopefully next season. I'm going to come around to each of you just on our final thoughts. What's your thoughts just on where we go to next season-wise? Mike, I'll start with you.
For me, where we go from here for next season, I think as we've all mentioned, Mason, he's not going to get off the job. He's too young. He's inexperienced. Like Sid said, he needs to go back in, finish off his qualifications. I think he's going for his pro license as we speak. So get that done and dusted if it hasn't already. Go back into under 18s, maybe get a bit more experience there, and then go and get a manager's job maybe in a championship somewhere where there's not much pressure. Get the experience from there, and then, as Sid said, maybe one day in the future when he's more experienced, etc., there might be an opening back at Spurs. But I think we need to, with the management, from a management perspective, we need to find the right appointment. But if we get that, if we keep the core of this squad, get rid of the deadwood, which I won't go into because we all know who that deadwood is. I mean, there's already been a few bids, but if we get rid of the deadwood and bring in players that will improve us as a squad and better us as a team, then why wouldn't we, or why couldn't we sort of get back up to top 4, get a good run in the cups? I mean, obviously, like you said, Sam, we do need to concentrate perhaps on the cup, but with that, you need a little bit of luck as well on the way.
Yeah, you do. 100% agree with that.
But yeah, I feel quite positive, to be fair. Cool. I think, like I say, if we get the right appointment in, get rid of the deadwood, improve the squad, get those loan players back in like Session, Skip, etc. Yeah, why not?
I'm going to come to a few comments before I come to you, Darius, and I want to come to you, Sid and Shai, as the last to get on a wrap. So we've got Talk Me watching. Thank you for watching. If Spurs comprise Graham Potter out of Brighton, that would be a great move, in my opinion. Simon says, come on, Sam. Mason is Levy's puppet. A yes, man. Lockman, Kane would force to leave if Mason became permanent. And I
don't blame him.
Though. Mason and Kane are best mates, if people didn't know that. And I don't know if Kane would just say because Mason's manager, he'd leave. I don't think it would be the right appointment, but I'm not sure Kane would just say, oh, I'm going because of that. There's a lot of things that might happen because of that. Simon, again, let's get Conte. I know it's a big ask, but I think he can do a great job.
No.
Some shaking their heads going off there.
It's a lot of money as well.
Zinedine Zidane. I'm not sure about Zidane. Sam, again, look how crap we've been this season and are just missing out on top 4. Me and Darius was having a discussion as well earlier. So, Darius, I want to come to you for your opinion just as a final summation in terms of where you think Spurs will end up going forward.
I think it all depends on the managerial appointment. I think that the deadwood and the players is one thing. I think that's going to be kind of a given. I do believe that the reason that certain players have been playing in the past few games are because they kind of are trying to increase the value by maybe, a little bit of 4 or 5 mil here and there. So I do think players are going to go, and I do think players are going to come in. Whether the quality of the players are what people want and expect, that's a different story. I think it's going to be hard to try and attract the elite players of today because, 1, we're not in Champions League football, 2, we're not really an elite club. So I think we need to be smart in the market, find the correct players, and if we make the correct managerial appointment, I really see a positive. And I know somebody just mentioned about Graham Potter. For me, he seems like the best option for me, only because out of all the managers that have been mentioned here, and Conte is a good choice, but Conte is too expensive and I just don't think would really fit Tottenham's philosophy. No. I think Graham Potter has got a tactical idea against every team, and sometimes it changes. And I just think that when I watched him play against West Ham yesterday, their defensive structure and system is so tight, watertight. Like he gets them defending very well, and the way they break on the ball. And you've got somebody like Dan Burn, who's a left back, who's 6'7", and you still got him playing well. You've got Welbeck making amazing runs and scoring goals. I can only think what he could do with better players, and he's also. I think I was watching a video about him. He's kind of got like masters in sort of like psychology or something to do with psychology. So it's more than just obviously the tactics. I think that he could really be a very similar appointment to Poch. And I understand that the 17th and Brighton and all that is not great to look at. But if people are calling for Scott Parker after he's been relegated, then Graham Potter, I mean, if you look at his Osterson's work, he kind of got them from 3rd, 4th division to Europa League. So I just think that managerial appointment is the most important thing. I think the quality of the players, the majority of them is good. I think, like I said, we just need to get rid of the ones that we all know are bad, and we need to bring in players who are better than them, not of similar quality. And I really do believe that it's not as bad as we might suspect. I don't think we're going to be challenging for titles, but are we as Spurs fans? I don't know about you guys. Are you expecting to challenge for titles next season? I don't see that. So if we can improve the squad and potentially, you know what, go for a trophy this time and really actually get to a final, you know what I mean, properly challenge and maybe even get into the top 4. Because like you said, it's been a crap season, but we really could have still been in the top 4. So there's so many things that could have, should have, would have happened had something else, had other things happen. So we just need a bit of a plan and a decent manager. Right? We need a really good manager. That's my main thing, a really good manager.
Sid, I'm going to come to Sid just to get some summation on that. With the positives that we've got from today, is that enough to kind of put us back on a bit of a path going forward in the future?
It was a good win today, but what Mike and Darius were saying, I think next season it all depends on which manager we're getting. The managers that we wanted, obviously, typical Daniel Levy, lastminute.com, and everyone else's took him. Potter, for me, sounds like the best option. I mean, even might be able to bring Lewis Dunk with him, because, I mean, he's probably better than what centre-halves we've got at the moment, and he does a job. Next season, I totally agree with you. We've got this semi-final issues where we always get to the semis and then we lose. Last 2 finals, we've not turned up. We've not even scored a goal. So, yeah, we're not gonna top 4 maybe, might be just out of reach next season. We're not going to win the league. So why not, like Mike and Darius were saying, and yourself, Sam, why not put out our best teams in the Carabao Cup, in the FA Cup, go out there, actually win the cup, turn up, show, play, give a performance and win the cups? Because we've not won cups for years. Like yesterday, I was watching that Leicester, and you know what? I was so happy for them. And how many years they've lost?
Is that their first FA Cup as well in their history?
Yeah, first FA Cup. I think they've lost 3 finals, and it's the first win. We've been into finals. We all get hyped up. We all get pumped up, and then we don't turn up. Yeah, and it's the typical Tottenham
Spurs winning mentality, as I keep saying.
Exactly.
That mentality. Some of them players that play yesterday in that come final have a winning mentality because they've won the league. You know, they know how to get over the line. Now, regardless of if it's a cup final or not, they know how to win. So they've got that mentality. Until we get over the line, we haven't got that. So this is my point. It's all about that. It's not about, right, it's only a Carabao Cup and it's just that. It's not so much the cup itself. It's the mentality. It's knowing that you can get yourself over that line to win the semi-finals, to win the quarterfinals, to go into a final thinking we can actually do it, as opposed to the times that I've seen us thinking to myself, oh, we're not going to win it.
Yeah. I mean, look at Morgan. Sorry, go on.
Go on, Sid. Go on, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at Morgan and Vardy. Yeah, Vardy came from the conference, non-league football, and between the two of them now, they've won the Champions League. They've won the Premier League. They've won the FA Cup. Yeah. You know, and they've got promotions together. 2 players that you would never ever heard of, and we've had how many players over the years, top players, and they've left Tottenham Hotspur with nothing. Yeah. This is where
we now mentality in it, Sid. Yeah, it's the mentality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's that dead wood that we talk about. Yeah. That dead wood is where that mentality is probably stuck. And if you get rid of that, a young manager, it could be a young manager. I mean, I'm not too fussed about Conte. I don't think he's the right fit. But if we had a new manager that's energetic, that's sort of lives and breathes the club, etc., I think it positivity breeds upon positivity, if that's the right saying. But that's what Tottenham need. They need to get rid of these. They need to get rid of the dead wood where there's negativity. Get rid of it and bring in players that are positive. And once you've got a positive culture, things can happen, can't they?
Yeah. That director of football comment. Sorry, just to interrupt. That director of football comment is a given, in my opinion. I feel like that should be a given. So that's the only reason I didn't mention that. But yeah.
And these
positive
are the things,
changes, though, isn't it? It's positive changes.
And these are the things that I would look to ENIC to say if they didn't do, that would be them being and making mistakes. These are the sort of things, you know, we've seen that it does work if you've got the right person when we had Paul Mitchell. So if we get all these little pieces into position, right, and they make the right appointments, then I don't see why there shouldn't be more positivity going forward. Yes, I know that people are saying that we haven't done this, we haven't done that. But again, I'm looking at it more of a case of over the last 20 years and the previous 20 years, I know I'd rather have these 20 years than the previous 20 years. Shai, just in terms of the closing comments, what's your thoughts on the positivity? Is it? Are we on the right path going forward now, or is there still a lot more to do?
Just very quickly before I just come on to those, I just wanted to make 2 very quick comments. I just want to say I hope Bobby's feeling a lot better now because he wasn't very well after turning out for Spurs yesterday at the protest, and good, well done to him for doing that, and he didn't have to feel guilty about not being there today. So I hope he's feeling a lot better until I saw 100%. The comment he just made under the screen, so he can get stuffed for that one.
But I'll put it up again just so you can see it as well.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
he's everyone's cheeky on his Bob, isn't he? He's cheeky, isn't he?
And the second thing, Simon, I think he was a bit harsh on Ryan Mason, calling him big and fat. I think that was a bit over the top in your comment there. But anyway, I get what you're trying to say. But going back to the point. Going back to the point, there's still a lot to do. There's still a lot to do, in my opinion. Who I wanted as manager is probably Nagelsmann and then Ten Hag, and obviously it doesn't look like we're going to get either of them. Who I want now, I'm not sure, if I'm totally honest with you, with the names that are bandied about. I do want a forward-thinking, possession-based attacking manager. I think we definitely need that. And I think we need to mix it up. We need to bring some of the youth through, like your Dane Scarletts, your Alfie Devine, start bringing those through. I'd like to see Joe Rodon given a proper chance next season, definitely. I'd like to see Tanganga in there a lot more. The Deadwood needs to go without a lot, and there's quite a lot of them, to be fair. So we need a mix of youth, keeping some of the existing players now and bringing in some fresh faces with a forward-thinking manager. That's what 100%. I feel we 100%. Need, and obviously better recruitment.
And I go with this. I go with this comment that Hamza's put down below. This is my main feeling. What's the point of playing in Europe if we ain't going to win it? Weak players with weak mentalities. Like I said, we could get top 4 every single year. If we ain't got a realistic chance of winning, it does attract better players. It does have meaning. But I want to win something. And I keep going back to that same point. I don't care about top 4 at this moment in time.
Yeah.
I want us to win. We could be in the top 4 come next season. And I know we ain't got a chance to win that Champions League. Not a chance. Yeah. If we honestly and brutally truthful to ourselves, we ain't got a chance. So what's the point? We have got a chance of winning the FA Cup. We have got a chance of winning the League Cup if we put our minds to it and we get certain bits of luck and get the right things in place. That's where the building block starts. That's where the foundation starts as Spurs. And hopefully if we have that with the right philosophy going forward, I think we've got to have the right balance, the right philosophy. Are we going to now rebuild? It looks like we are going to have to do that. So that next appointment, as I think we've all touched on, has to be key. They have to get certain structures in place, directors of football, all the rest of it, and then we may enjoy watching Spurs again next season. However, last comment of the top 4 generates money for Levy, and I think that's another debate for another show, and which we could get into for a lot longer than what we have got today. One more comment in here. If we get another Poch-type man here, would Kane leave? I don't think Kane can wait for another 5 years. I don't think he can either. Simon says, Shy, I speak the truth, my man, and people saying about spending money on players. Hello, we don't spend money in capital.
Simon, he's not big and fat.
So, like I said, there's plenty more ammunition for other shows. This has been the reaction show for this, so we're going to make sure it's just a reaction and not touch on too many other subjects. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Please leave your comments in the below. Please hit that like button. We really get a lot of I get a lot of excitement when I see people press like and press comments and also leave them below. Gentlemen, it's been really good. Sid, thank you very much for joining us today. I'm going to ask both of you, Shine and Sid, where people can find you. Come to Shy first.
Where so
we've got that is.
You wait till I see Dale later. You can catch us later on. Actually, we're on at 6:30 ourselves with our match reaction on there, and I've got a friend of mine who's a Wolves fan who's coming on, so we'll be on at 6:30 this evening. We'll also be on tomorrow for our normal podcast and video at 8 p.m. And you can find the Bryans as well on a Friday night and Stell and Shy sometimes on a Saturday. And it's at hello@Tottenham Away if you want to email us to come on or anything.
Brilliant. Sid, where can we find you on social media? And can we find you on here more often than not now? That's the question.
You know what? It's been an absolute pleasure. I've absolutely loved it. And if you guys want me on here every week, do you know what? I'm game. I'm on it. I don't
know if you'd want to be here every week with Sam. I'm not going to lie to you, Sid. I'm not going to lie.
You wouldn't want to see what week does to him, poor guy.
That's what I'm saying. It's all nice
I'll
now.
be here every week.
It's all lovely now.
I've got 3 boys that are mad Tottenham fans, 22-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 14-year-old. And I tell you, they've got more conversations, and they're sometimes better than me. They are proper blue and white, the blood. But I'm on Twitter, Sid_Spurs, and if I'm not, you'll see me flying around on the underground because that's where I work. So anyone can say hello.
Fabulous. Mike, Darius, thank you very much. Sid, Shai, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Like, subscribe, share, comment. I will always just do that for the last time. But again, we are out. Look forward. We've got a preview show actually tomorrow because we've got a midweek game against Villa on Wednesday. Then look out for Talking Points on Tuesday. Special show. We have Abby Summers. We've also got David Irish Hotspur on there as well. So that should be a good one. And then towards the end of next week, we've got the last game of the season next week, Sunday. So preview and reactions for that. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you again soon. Guys, bye.